Yo, 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 what's going on, great people in all of the great lands? You already know who it is, your favorite fantasy football homeboys. Ready to give it to y'all one more time. Myself and the homeboy himself, Johnny Main, in his festiveness. Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
Hi. I hope everyone's having a great Christmas weekend before Christmas, I guess. Great game last night, by the way, man. Great game. Yeah, like I was a little bit nervous because I was like, oh, well, maybe Caleb Williams isn't the play. But turns out he actually was the play for me over Sam Darnold. Is that a little bit better for you there? Yeah, so he was the play, so that made me kind of happy to ride my season riding on Caleb Williams or Sam Darnold for fantasy. And so far, it looks like I made the right pick. Set Zach Charbonnet, man, which is kind of gross to see. Oh man, still having problems, huh? This is wild. All right, well, I guess we'll let everybody else determine that. Let's see here. Yeah, I guess I'll try to get this figured out, my mic situation figured out. But yeah, no,
Right,
what up, everybody?
It's not better
yeah.
now.
Okay, better. Cool. Yeah, cool. No, so yeah, I'm excited about this slate, man, coming off of a nice win last week for me in DFS. So hoping to keep it repeating. Won a little bit of money last night off the Oregon James Madison game. Took James Madison and the over in that game. So so far things are going pretty good for me in the holiday season, man. So
all right,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Not so much.
We keep
Not
that
so
train
much
rolling
right now, huh?
Do what?
Not so much the Grinch right now. Got it.
Right. That's why I'm all festive today, man. I don't have anything to be upset about.
Oh boy, Week 16, the fantasy football show in the house. DFS, props, bets, your last minute start sits, questions. If you got them, drop them in the chat. And if you haven't done so, please wipe your feet at the door. Please like the video. Subscribe to our channel. We're close to our goal, 200 subs. Let's get there before the end of the regular season, please. Again, tell everybody about us because we the best tag team in all the fantasy football land.
We the best music.
We the best music. We the best. So yeah, we about to get to it, y'all. Week 16, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be. We already got some weird totals, over unders. We got some weirdness just going on. We got teams that are just gonna be fighting for just pride. We got some teams that are going to be in the mix for their playoff hunt. So without further ado, we're going to start with two teams that are really going to be fighting over their overall supremacy for their spot in the playoffs. And I'm talking about the Bucks and the Panthers. Going to get this thing started off. Bucks getting 3 as the favorite going into Carolina. Both these teams 7-7. Both of these teams are going to be playing each other one more time last week of the season. But winner here gets an opportunity to get one leg up on them before they meet each other again for potentially the AFC South crown. Over under 45.5. Johnny, there's two teams that we're just like, we're not gung-ho about, right? Throughout the year, it feels like we've been on the Bucks a bit and then been on the Panthers a little bit. And now these two teams are collisioning one more time. And again, it's going to pretty much, again, a victory here is going to give you a leg up before week 18. So what are you saying in this matchup? Who you liking? For DFS purposes, I'm sure there's going to be a couple pieces you like here as well. What you got to say?
Yeah, this is definitely one of the bigger games of the slate today for sure. Not a lot to be said, man. Like, hey, man, this division supremacy is on the line. I think like we seen last night, what that looks like. And even on Thursday night, man, I will say the NFL looks like they have got one aspect of this right for, meaningful games coming down the stretch because, I'll date myself and say I remember a lot of times, man, in week, at the time, 16 to 17, these games didn't mean anything. But now, obviously week 17 on, these games mean something. So Panthers are at home. Tampa Bay has their full array of weapons. One of the few times we can actually say that about them this week. So it feels like picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it feels like something's going to go wrong. it feels like something's gonna go wrong. But I'm gonna stand on it. I'm gonna stand on it, and I'm gonna say, man, I think Tampa Bay is got to be where it's at, man. Baker Mayfield, golly, dude, he's falling on hard times for sure, man. One of the guys I do like, actually, two guys I do like is I like Bucky today, and I do like Mike Evans today.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. What could go wrong, right? What could go wrong? Bucky, man, in his career so far, short career with Tampa Bay, he's averaging over 132 yards per game rushing against Carolina. He hasn't had any of that so far this year. I don't even think he's even had a top 5 finish or a rushing touchdown so far this year. So what better time for this to happen than right now? I'm going to say it is right now. And the last time that Baker Mayfield himself played the Carolina Panthers, 5 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns to Mike Evans, 2 to Jalen McMillan. So, I know all the stars aren't aligned properly, right, for our history to repeat itself, like, specifically like that. But it does give me a little bit of optimism going into the day. From a DFS side of things, Ted McMillan's the guy to play, or he's coming in as the chalkiest playing this game at 13%, followed by Bucky Irving at 5%. So not a lot of people are playing this game here, and as you have it right up here on the screen on a game that has a 45.5 over, that's a little bit shocking. I did sprinkle Baker Mayfield into a couple of my DFS lineups. Like I said, I am playing a lot of Mike Evans, playing a lot of Ted McMillan, playing a lot of Bucky Irving today. So we'll see how it goes. But overall, give me the Bucks in this game for sure.
Whew. All right. Well, I'll just say this. I think who was the highest one in this game again? 10?
Yeah, this is FanDuel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nah, that don't seem right at all. What's Mike Evans' price tag on FanDuel?
Like 8.2.
That's kind of pricey.
But Ted McMillan does make sense. And the reason why I think like he does make sense, at least in my mind anyway, is just because like all these games that the Buccaneers have played in, man, like there's obviously like there have been a ton of points that have been scored in. Well, I shouldn't even say a ton. Yeah. So like when they played Buffalo scored 44, the Rams scored 34. The lowly Cardinals put up 17, the Saints put up 24, and the Falcons put up 29. So like, you're not talking about offenses that, are exactly world beaters when you talk about like the Saints and the Falcons. We know what it is with the Cardinals, like they're the kings of junk time. So like there's points to be had here, man. If there's points to be had, it's Ted. So
that was gonna be my point, because I think this total should be 48.5 easily. In a spot where both of these teams, for example, Panthers still play a top 5, coverage rate for cover 3. Mike Evans, like, I don't understand why people are not going to him more in this spot, in a spot where Bucks need this. And since like Mike has been back, like anytime he's with Baker, we already know he's gonna funnel him, right? So I think tendency wise puts me on a potential Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans stack here, just because of the chemistry, just because you already know he's going to be looking for him constantly in this game. And again, like Panthers, Mike Evans can definitely eat against cover 3. And at times they'll play single high coverage, so Mike Evans can definitely eat there too. Again, like this is a similar spot to last week when I saw Chris Olave in. You know what I'm saying? So this is like I'm kind of going back to the well on this one. So I think the Bucks are going to take this one. I think because Carolina I just don't know them as a team. I really don't. I think the advantages that Carolina has normally, I don't think they have in this spot. Like J.C. Horn is normally getting burnt by Mike Evans. Matchup history says that. And I just don't trust Carolina in this spot. I do think they'll make things competitive, of course. I do think that the Bucks are leaking passing yards. They are second most allowed passing yards in the last 5 weeks. So Bryce Young, can he get there as a passer? Yes, we've seen it. We've seen the ceiling. And he's someone that definitely for the price tag, at least on DraftKings today, can make some sense if you're playing a ton of, MMEs. Johnny. And I think that in a spot where I'm not going to count Carolina out, but it's more like they know they need to win this spot too. Otherwise, it's like you got to go to Tampa Bay last week of the season, and that could mean, your playoff hopes are slim to none if you don't get that done in Tampa. So I do like Tampa in this spot. I do think Baker having his weapons back makes a ton of sense. I think Baker seems to be a bit more healthier than he had been in the last 6 to 8 weeks. So give me the Bucks in this spot and give me the over.
Fair enough.
Let's see. So the next we got is, oh boy, can we just go over this game quickly?
I'd love to.
Go over this game quickly. Jets Saints. There's not much to talk about. Jets a 6.5 underdog going into New Orleans. Notes to watch out for, obviously, no Kamara, obviously, and no Devin Neal, which means Audric Estime, which also means Evan Hall, who was Indianapolis before. Now he's resurfaced in New Orleans. This game just feels really weird. An incentive note: Juwan Johnson needs 8 catches to. I think it's 8 catches. He gets $500K before the end of the season. But I think in this spot, it's like, what can I say? The Jets are, they're terrible. Brady Cook starting at quarterback, on the road in New Orleans. Yeah, Breece Hall, maybe, but I don't know. It just feels like he has not been trying to really play. Let's just say that. It feels like he is kind of just saving himself, which I can understand that, but I can't because I'm a competitor. So I want to go out there and just do my best all the time. And yeah, look, this is a lost season for both of these teams, and that's just all there is to it. Give me the Saints in this spot.
For as much as I would like to just mildly gloss over this game, I think there's a lot of things that we do have to talk about in this space.
Of course.
And I think Audric Estime is where it starts for me. That's where it ends. I think for me today, he opens up so much on a slate that that there's a lot of good matchups. There's also a lot of good value on FanDuel as well. And Audric Estime opens up everything. If he ends up being the guy, right? At the price point, I think it's $4,900 and very minimally being played as well at this point. So I don't know if that means I don't know if that means I'm all the way wrong or
that's
what.
Weird. 5K on DraftKings, I thought that would be more of a spot that people would get to today.
Well, DraftKings not sure again. I'm referencing FanDuel for ownership. That's where I'm playing at today. Just trying to keep that going. But even still, right? At 4,900, that's pretty wild. And the Jets have been just brutal on defense. Obviously, we've seen what happened last week with Travis Etienne and the Jaguars. New Orleans is at home, and then to talk about Tyler Shuck, man. 3-3 as a starter so far, 92 QB rating, 69% completion percentage as the starting quarterback. That's third in the NFL since week 9. Only Josh Allen and Brock Purdy have been better than him in that space. And I was amazed as well. You mentioned Chris Olave, talking about him from last week. I was, obviously, doing my research, and I was looking. I was like, wow. I did not realize that, at this point of the year, Chris Olave is wide receiver 8 in PPR settings. I was like, wow, that was definitely not what I had, in my deck of cards. So I think the Saints, man, and you mentioned Juwan Johnson. I think he's a great play today. There's a lot of Saints players, man, that I'm cool with playing today in this space, right? 40.5. So Vegas says that there will be some points that should be scored. Obviously, defensively, the same thing. When you look at the Jet side of the ball, obviously it's Breece Hall. There's nothing more, nothing less. You might get a one-off touchdown from some of the wide receivers or something like that right there. But this is definitely a game that people aren't getting to a lot. The Saints defense is the highest owned in this game at almost 16%. And then on the Jet side, Adonai Mitchell ends up being the first player that shows for higher ownership in this game, and that's at almost 8%. Brees Hall is coming in at 7%. So yeah, man. So again, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for me the way I'm looking at this and the way I've constructed some of my lineups as far as getting some Saints in there. Feels gross, feels dirty. But the one thing the Jets have done all year long, they have let me down in every aspect. So it only makes sense that they would come out and play the game of their life today. So yeah.
That would be on brand for the Jets, honestly.
It would literally be on par with my beat for the Jets.
You would think everything sets up for them to just not do well in this spot on the road in a dome, like
narrative, another narrative. Yeah, you got me going. Another narrative. Aaron Glenn, former Saint as well. So
yep.
Why not? Why not?
Hey, why not? Like, so you taking the points? Based on all that, you gonna take the points on the Jets today?
You know what? I'm gonna stand on business, man. I'm gonna take the same. I'm gonna stand on business today, man. I'm holiday. Right. I'm festive. Got a little house money today to get extra nasty.
I got some extra money to play with. He said.
Yeah, so I'll get nasty and go with the Saints today.
Okay, cool. You mean the Jets?
No.
Bills Browns. Bills are a minus 10.5 favorite going to Cleveland. Buffalo knows they're still gonna win to have an opportunity still at the 1 seed, over under 40.5. Yeah, look, it's all about James Cook in this matchup, right? Cleveland has really, the run defense has not been great over the last couple of weeks. And when it comes down to it, since week 10, they've been a top 5 run funnel. So yeah, look, I think James Cook, it feels like he saves his best for his last. So this could be a spot for James Cook where I'm looking at him at 7,700 on DraftKings. Like, it just makes, there's a good amount of other guys at the top, you know what I'm saying? Like, Achane highest price running back on DraftKings, then Bijan, then Gibbs. But I think James Cook severely a bit underrated in this spot for 7,700. I think people will look at the season-long numbers a bit too much on Cleveland's run defense, but they've been, somewhat leaky to that, the aspect of their run defense over the last several weeks. So I'm going to attack that. And I think the Bills are going to take this one. It's all about how many points. I think Josh Allen, we've said it countless times before, where it's like he's someone that needs to be pushed. So I could easily see he's still the highest price quarterback today on DraftKings, 7,200. It's not the spot I really want to attack, or the spot I want to put my money down on for Josh Allen this week. Like, the only way really, if this game gets sloggled down more for Cleveland side, if they really are effective running the football, which could happen because Buffalo is still at bottom 5 rushing matchup to opposing teams. So this still could be a spot where Browns can somewhat make it competitive maybe. But again, it's Shedeur Sanders. He's looked decent at times, other times not. Harold Fannin, someone that if you're starting long season-long leagues, you feel good about that because his usage rate has increased since Shedeur has been there, at least a 20% usage rate increase for Harold Fannin. So he's been money for us so far. Just keep on riding the train on that. Will Myles Garrett get the sack record today? He needs what, 1 more or 2 more? Let us know, Rick. But I thought he needed 2 more. If he needs 1 more, he definitely gets in the spot today. Because Myles Garrett is a one-man machine.
1 sack. He's 1 sack. One sack away.
All right. Yeah. I think he can get done today. Because I think it's a spot where, unless Buffalo goes extremely run heavy in this spot, which is possible, but it is what it is. I think Buffalo's going to win this game. It's all about how many points. So yeah, there's that. 1.5 sacks. Yeah. Depending on which you're looking at.
1.5. Yeah, at the tie. Okay, yeah. No, I actually feel like the Browns might be able to keep this thing close. And I'm just looking at some of this
plus
here.
10.5 for you? Okay.
They may be able to keep it close. A couple of reasons why I think it's just like just kind of going back and looking over the last 5 games. Granted, some of these offenses are really, really elite. But like, I mean, Tampa Bay 32 points given up, Texans 23. Obviously, the Steelers couldn't muster any more than 7 points. Bengals 34, Patriots 31. So like the Bills, like they have given up points, right? Like they have given up points. They have had some opportunities, obviously, in the run game. Talk about Quinshon Judkins. It's got to be time, like at some point, right? Like it's been hasn't been really great for him over the last handful of weeks. And I think like we've expected some bigger games from him in certain scenarios, in certain situations. Josh Allen, you're right.
Judkins goes off today, I'm gonna throw things.
Love it.
Like,
Love it.
it better not.
I'm not gonna say go off.
Go off today.
I'm not gonna say go off, but do I think a touchdown is in the realm of possibilities today? Absolutely. I think he's really touchdown dependent. So I think there's that, and then you mentioned Harold Fannin. The Bills have actually been pretty decent against tight ends, man. So I think like the target share like absolutely could be there for Fannin. Should be there for Fannin today. What he's able to do with it, that's up for discussion for sure. I think we'll find out obviously after the game. But James Cook, I agree with you. I think this is a spot that people are missing the boat a little bit. I did try to get over the field for him in GPP. What is it? 6? I think like 6 of the last 11 games or something like that right there. James Cook has went over 100 total yards, so I think this is a really good situation for him to be able to hit 100 total yards in this game for sure. Don't like any of the Bills pass catchers, so if this game does end up becoming the only pass catcher I actually do like is Dalton Kincaid. And I said it last week and I'll say it again. I think I might have said it the previous week, but like this offense is really, as crazy as this sounds, it's very tight end centric right now between guys like obviously Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid. So like I wouldn't be shocked, to see Dalton Kincaid have a big game today. Dawson Knox was the guy that had the baby that we were trying to figure out who it was last week. That's actually who it was Dawson Knox. So I like the Bills tight ends in this game for sure. Trying to think if I really want to go there with the Browns today in that big line. Yeah, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there with that. I'm going to go there with the line today. 10.5 points today. I think the Browns, like big emotional win for the Bills last week. Comeback win in Foxborough. Browns got nothing to play for. You know what I mean? Like,
could be a letdown spot.
Like, so I'll be risky today. I'll be risky today and say that I think like the Browns cover today.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
You back in an AFC North foe.
Oh, don't worry. Listen. I'll be rooting for the Pats tonight. Spoiler alert.
All right, Chiefs, Titans. Boy, you thought this game would have been a little bit more for a certain team in this spot. But obviously, Mahomes getting hurt. Obviously, Chiefs getting mathematically eliminated last week by their division foes, the Chargers. Game of the week, right, Rick? I wasn't sure if he was talking about the Bills or the Browns. He was talking about the Chiefs and the Titans. I'm not sure which one he was talking about, but either way, it's still funny. I think everybody's celebrating the Chiefs going down, and then this. It's like anyone who's really, bringing the thunder down on the Chiefs is like just hating, and they've been closet haters for a while. You gotta respect what the Chiefs have done over the last 10 years. In the NFL especially, there's a lot of crap that goes on from a, literally from a change perspective, game by game, season by season. And to keep on doing what they have been doing for quite some time, like, it's just kudos to everyone in that organization. So just shout out to the Chiefs for, although they're not making the playoffs and stuff like that this year, and obviously Mahomes, he's got to deal with what he's deal with to come back. Like, still rooting for them in general because it's like it's really difficult to be consistent in the NFL for this long. So I just want to give my flowers to them because it's like I think the hate has gone way too overboard. We all know Travis Kelce pretty much going to make it a career. From incentive purposes, he's got some stuff he needs to go accomplish still from receiving yards perspective. So it's totally possible we can do that in this spot. With the Chiefs in general, like I think they covered a 3. I think Gardner Minshew, like I've talked about before, in the same vein as like really some of the good quality backups in the NFL. I think Gardner Minshew brings that to the table. He's someone that, again, he's basement price pretty much. I would say pretty much Gardner Minshew is pretty much basement price. He is 4,500 on DraftKings, and he's someone that I think in a spot like this where so-called, again, teams that don't so much to play for or whatever, it's like people are, Gardner Minshew is still playing for something. He can potentially find himself in a spot like later on, and let's just say, for example, a team doesn't, bring their they go into a situation where they need a bridge quarterback starter. Like Gardner Minshew could be playing for that, just like when we saw, like Mac Jones and stuff like that. It's like their teams are constantly evaluating at least the quarterbacks on a consistent basis and everything else. But long way of saying I like the Chiefs in this spot. I think there's no Rashee Rice today, which is unfortunate. Kind of mailing in the bag, I feel, just a little bit. So yeah, you got Kansas City guys. You could probably take a stab at Marquise, like maybe even Juju Smith-Schuster per se. That might be going a little overboard. But I think in this spot, like Titans, still a top 5 pass funnel. And I do think that Gardner Minshew can be the veteran to, still pick them apart in this spot. That's what I like.
Yeah. I went back to look to try to see what Gardner Minshew, no different offenses.
That's right.
Different offenses, different situations, but just to try to see what he's done with the tight ends in the past. Wasn't very sexy, but also too, he didn't have Travis Kelce, but also too, Travis Kelce is on this last leg. And just kind of just reflecting, what a year for 2025. John Cena retires, Drake gets squashed in beef, Patrick Mahomes doesn't make the playoffs. The people. No, I'm just being. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. I just was sitting here thinking, I was like,
that was next show.
I'm just gonna let it fly now. I was just sitting here thinking. I was like, damn, what a year to be the man. But yeah, 37.5 in this game. Want to talk about Tony Pollard? Obviously, I think that's somebody that we got to talk about, right? Coming off of 2 weeks with RB1 performances, running back 2 performance in week 14, running back 11 performance. Last week, obviously, he's picking the right time to get hot because everybody got Tony Pollard. Duh. So this guy was probably dropped in some shallower leagues or just rage dropped in other leagues. But right now, he's the hottest running back or one of the hottest running backs in the NFL. So yeah, so that's interesting. And then to flip it over on the other side, then you have the Chiefs running game, right? The Chiefs running backs, whoever that's going to be today, or what that's going to look like. Obviously, it's not going to be the same offense, right? And so you have Xavier Worthy. It's a guy that, you mentioned, we're talking about pass catchers for the Chiefs, 17% owned. So I'm not getting there in that space on FanDuel. I think a lot of people just kind of have mild revisionist history. And I don't know what they're thinking, if they're thinking maybe this offense looks similar to Patrick Mahomes. I just don't know. I can't speculate, but Gardner Minshew, I think it is what it is. I think he is a backup quarterback. Yeah, I think obviously I think he has a little bit of mobility, but 37.5, I think that's fair. And man, dude, this has got to suck for my peeps back home, man. You get tickets to this game and shit. You think you're getting ready to see Patrick Mahomes. You think you're getting ready to see one of the GOATs at quarterback, and you get Gardner Minshew, who you've already seen quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars before Trevor Lawrence showed up to town. So this game, oh man, I think I'll just take the Chiefs just because. I think they're better coached still, right? This isn't Andy Reid's first rodeo playing with a backup quarterback or, anything like that right there. The Titans, they have been a little bit more scrappy, right? But I think we have to kind of take a step back and look at the situation and who they've been playing and what the scenario's been, right? The 49ers have been very, very loving and caring when it comes to other teams and putting up points on the board, right? So I think there's that. Yeah, so give me the Chiefs here today in this space, in this ugly game. Maybe look at some of these team defenses here, right? Like you could probably get by in DFS with either one of these defenses in a 37.5 over under game there in Cashville. But yeah, not a lot to write home about in this game. Like I said, Xavier Worthy 17% on. Titans defense is next at almost 12% on FanDuel. So pick or choose which direction you want to go here in this space.
Gardner Minshew for the min price at QB. Like that's what I think that's something that could be smart, set you up for the rest of your lineup to do pretty well. Another game that Vikings are kind of done in this spot. Like Vikings and Giants here. Vikings at -2.5 fave going into New York over under 42.5. Both of these teams kind of somewhat struggle. They're still bottom 10 when it comes to points per game between these two teams. So there's things alike. I mean, the Vikings can still get ran on. So Tyrone Tracy is someone that the field may not get to enough of. But he's someone, if you're looking for if you're playing a 3 running back build or something like that, like Tyrone Tracy is someone you can get a little different with, 5,700 on DraftKings. And he's just someone that, he had a big game this past week. And I think he could potentially follow that up. So I think there's things to like. I like Wan'Dale Robinson in this spot too. Wan'Dale, I just can't believe that he's like a top 10 receiver right now in deep targets, deep target catches. It's crazy. Like Wan'Dale Robinson, the guy that usually gets everything underneath. It's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, look, I think those are some spots that definitely like on the Viking side. Like, just like, is Jefferson gonna finally have the next? Is it gonna happen? In New York, I'm saying the starters are starting right, but I don't know. I mean, give me the Vikings in this spot. I just think that playing with a rookie quarterback means that there's going to be exotic blitzes coming from Brian Flores in this defense, and this could get to Jackson Dart. Although he's a mobile quarterback, I just don't envisioning him really breaking down the Vikings like that. So give me the Vikings in this spot.
Yeah, this is a little bit more interesting than like what you would think. Jackson Dart since week 6. I know he missed a couple games, right? And they had the bye. But since week 6, he's only had 1 week where he wasn't a QB1, right? And even last week, he was QB9. And J.J. McCarthy is coming off a back-to-back QB1 finishes, not one overall, but in the QB1 range when you look at 12-team leagues. So I think like this game might be a little bit like, as I'm saying it out loud and like everything, like this game might be a little bit more intriguing than what we initially thought on the surface, right? Like on the surface, there's not a lot to play for. Both of these teams, I don't know if the Vikings have been mathematically eliminated yet, but obviously the Giants have. And you mentioned Wan'Dale Robinson. Right now, Wan'Dale Robinson is actually wide receiver number 9 on the year in PPR. So let alone like the deep threats of like the yardage piece, but he's wide receiver 9 on the year, which is kind of crazy just to kind of put out there in the atmosphere. So this might be a game that might do a little bit more than like what we both think, because like the Giants haven't been very good against the run. And we've been waiting for that signature Aaron Jones game. We thought it was going to be against the Cowboys last week, and it wasn't. So maybe it's not against the Cowboys. Maybe it's against the Giants. Maybe that's what it is. So I like this is not a bad game to like get to overall. I don't think I have enough of it to make me feel comfortable. You ask about Justin Jefferson. I mean, I'm not going to push the chips to the table to say like that's what it is. If there was one guy that I'd be willing to bet on in this game, it would be my guy Jalen Naylor, because he's apparently the guy for JJ McCarthy. It's wild to say out loud. But that
it feels like Jefferson's like the third in the target tree, or potentially fourth in the target tree these days. It feels like he has a rapport with Addison. He has, like you said, rapport with Naylor. He has some decent, all right rapport with Hawkinson, and it's like with Jefferson, it's like he just missed his throws to him. I'm like, yo, like, how did you miss that? Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, you gotta think that they are gonna try to come out today and make a concerted effort
get
to
him going.
Yeah, there's
for most of us to have him.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Like if you got Justin Jefferson on your team, unless you traded for him, they've already poured out the 40 for you, man. It's over with. It's over with.
They already poured the 40 out for you.
They already poured the 40 out for you for sure.
I'm looking at Jefferson. He hasn't had a game over 70 receiving yards since week 8.
Listen. I don't know why you yelling at me. I had him on all my rosters. Not all of them, but I had him on rosters. So listen, I'm not even in the morning state anymore, man. Like I'm grieving, man. Like
I'm not even in the morning state anymore.
I'm not in the morning state, man. I'm grieving now, man. Like, I'm grieving and self-reflecting. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like at this point, but I do think like JJ McCarthy, like it is. I don't want to say it's starting to click for him, but like I think things are starting to get better for him. So we'll see. And like, man, and 6-8, right? It's not the end of the world, but like they almost got to make this thing work with him, man. Like I don't know where else they go at the end of the season at quarterback to try to get this, like, you know what I mean? Like I think. Yeah. So anyways, Jackson Dart, biggest concern for me for him today is like, just does he leave the game standing upright, or does he get knocked out by just not taking care of himself? So we shall see. Yeah.
That's fair. If you guys are on X, please jump on over to YouTube, show the love. We really appreciate it. Like, subscribe. If you haven't done so, again, please come on over to the YouTube, show the love. Come on over to the comment section. Show us the love, people. The next game we got is a big one for both teams. Chargers, Cowgirls. Chargers, slight underdog coming into Dallas. Over under 50.5. And there's a lot to like in this game, obviously, when it comes to certain pieces. And look, I think first thing that comes to mind for me is the Chargers defense has been solid. But schematically, this shapes up for both Pickens and Lamb. This could be a spot where they can both of them can overall eat in this spot, because Chargers, for as good as they've been, play a good amount of cover 4. And this is where, again, talented receivers like Lamb, Pickens, like, can definitely show up in this spot today. We know Pickens has been, ain't really been, showing up to the office lately. There's been some coach speak going into this one as well for him, about getting him the focus and stuff like that from Brian Schottenheimer. We'll just have to see. I think CeeDee Lamb obviously still going to be, CeeDee Lamb. He still should get his. It's all about now, can Pickens, get back to where he was, and overall, bring people to championships today. I think Javonte Williams in a decent spot as well for Dallas, if he's healthy, if he's ready to go. And then for the Chargers side of things, really the whole thing for me is, Dallas, again, like by season long, average numbers, still looks like a defense that we can constantly attack, but it's not always the case in certain spots. What I will say is that it has to be a Marion Hampton week, right?
Gotta be.
Dallas has allowed the most fantasy points to running backs this season. And I think that Marion Hampton, the spot, is something that, from a usage perspective, if he gets there, if it's not, it's been kind of a split committee between him and Vidal the last couple of weeks, but I think I think this week should give the Chargers enough confidence to really start running Hampton a bit more in this spot. I think across the industry, it feels like he's kind of a little undervalued, so I'll take that. But I think in terms of the game, I think Herbert can find his way to bounce back. It's just, will Dallas be able to get some pressure on him? Will be able to, rough him up like Herbert has been experiencing since all the offensive line woes have been happening? But I think the Chargers are gonna have to take this one because, again, if they're gonna look, there's still a possibility that they could still get the 1 seed and the division crown. Losing this spot, those hopes go out the window. So in terms of that, I like the Chargers to get it done. I think Dallas get, they officially get the boot they lose. And it's like, I just don't. I feel like the Chargers have been playing some really good ball lately. I'm taking them.
Yeah, like I'll take the Chargers too, like in this space. And I think like you talked about like Pickens and Lamb eating. I do surely hope Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens do come through today because I've got them in various spots in 4 of my teams that are in the semis that are left, 4 or 5, can't remember. But the one thing that is a little bit scary, Chargers have allowed a 71 passer rating. That's the lowest of any team in the NFL. Chargers are one of only 2 teams, along with the Texans, that have allowed fewer touchdown passes than they have interceptions. So this is still a really good defense. And so, like, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. But I like the running backs more so in this space. Like, I think, like, you're obviously enticed to play the pass catchers. I don't know about Quinn Williams. I was trying to find that, Rick. For me, like, I'm just a little bit more enticed by the pass catchers. But, like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to do it on the Dallas side because they're just a price tag, right? And there's a lot of other players I would like to get to other than Lamb and other than Pickens up top. So there's that. But, yeah, man, like, how is it not Omarion Hampton week, man? Like, it's got to be, right? And, like, he's at 10%. I would imagine ownership is probably going to steam up a little bit more the closer we get to kickoff, for sure. But, man, like, I'm playing a ton of Omarion Hampton today. For sure. So, yeah, and then you mentioned like Justin Herbert and just like him getting hit. The only other quarterback that got hit more than he did is Patrick Mahomes, and we already know how that story ended. And Justin Herbert's practically out there playing with a broken hand. So it'll be interesting to see how it shakes out today. But like I do like the Chargers. I just think like, things are just looking really bleak for the Cowboys right now, for sure. Like they peaked right around week 8 or 9, just like they always do. They have a couple of big wins, the comeback win, and then, here we are, with them with like less than probably 1 or 2% chance of making it to the playoffs. I thought they were actually eliminated last night by the Eagles winning. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know it's very far and few between for them to be able to go out and take the division. As far as ownership in the game goes, ownership on FanDuel says the same thing like I'm talking about right now. We've been talking about here. Javonte 15% on, Omarion Hampton coming in at 10%. Everybody else is a single digit. So I think they've got that piece of it right.
That's fair. I don't think Quinn Williams is going to play today. It's not official. He was dealing with a neck issue, but he was also in concussion protocol. So
he practiced. I think he practiced the other day, and then the neck injury happened. I remember yesterday hearing that like he had like pretty much like cleared protocol and then the neck thing. So Omarion Hampton.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Next game we got Bengals, Dolphins. Two of Johnny's favorite teams. Man, all I gotta say is Devon H. Yeah, like in this spot, I know so-called these teams aren't playing for nothing. Is Miami officially done? I think they are, but I think they're officially eliminated, right? Yeah, because they lost to your Steelers on Monday night, so they're officially done. But it's in this spot where Quinn Ewers started at quarterback for Miami after Tua. Yeah, Tua is a bum. Yeah, he is.
Hey, don't mind me.
He is.
Don't mind me.
He is.
Don't mind me.
I'm just saying. He's a bum. It's just when you look at the tape, when you look at what he had been doing too, it's not like he was like lifting up the offense like it was. And I get it. Miami went a little bit more run centric than they normally have tendency wise, but it's like Tua would still miss throws. Like he'd still get off platform with his throws, and it'd be like, how'd you miss him? There were several times, even the Pittsburgh game. I'm like, how'd you miss that? What was it? I think he missed Jalen Waddle like open for a touchdown, like literally. I'm like, how did you miss that? So and then there's whole rumor thing about speaking of these two games, like there was a rumor that goes back to 2020 about Miami when they had all these draft picks, like literally offered like 4 first-round picks to get Burrow. And they were like, nah.
That was during the draft process. I actually do remember hearing about that. I actually even back then, but man.
So here we are with Miami. I'm just curious what they do moving forward. But anyhow, about this game, right? T. Higgins officially playing today for Cincinnati. Bengals are the 4.5 favorite going to Miami, over under 40.5. And that being said, I'm sure since he's just playing just to play. I'm just curious for people who have them in season-long leagues, are you starting Burrow? Are you starting all the all these other pieces for Cincinnati in hopes that, they'll get you to the championship? Or is it more like I'm picking and choosing like who I may say? You're obviously starting Jamar Chase. That's pretty much a given. Miami's been a okay defense in the last 4 when it comes to receiver ones. But I think in this spot, I got Burrow going a couple leagues, so I'm definitely confident about still starting him today. Didn't look the prettiest last week, but I think you got to go back to it anyway, because as long as Burrow's there and he's playing, got to get him out there in the lineups, unless you got real QB issue decisions. But give me the Bengals in the spot. I think that Miami, although they're restarting and stuff like that, Quinn Ewers, this could be something where all right, maybe like you've talked about before, this could be a spot where it's they could get up for a player like Quinn Ewers, but it all depends on how much belief they have in him, and we'll find out probably first couple quarters in this one, how much belief they have in him about opening the playbook up and stuff like that. Rick, I would say that he wasn't that best of a prospect, but I wouldn't go as far as I don't believe that the Bengals are going to come out and just smash. Especially if you're streaming defenses this week, it just doesn't give me the most confidence, because I still think Miami still has relatively decent weapons across the board in this offense. So I wouldn't say it's a smash spot for this Bengals defense. If you got to start somebody where it's look, some of these waiver wires are gross when it comes to defenses, sure. Can the Bengals get a sack or two in the spot? Sure. But can they get it lit up for 24 points? Yeah, they could. So I still like the Bengals in this spot because all the weapons are playing, and Cincinnati, we know, has just a lot more firepower. So there's I stand on that. Johnny, what do you say?
So I'm actually going to disagree with you, and I'm going to agree with Rick about the Cincinnati defense thing. Couldn't stop myself this morning from, having the Cincinnati defense, trying to scour through, trying to see, what am I missing, right? Listen, trust me, I know how bad Cincinnati's defense is, but I will also, I will counter that and say that this is also a rookie quarterback getting his first start against, an NFL defense and obviously the Cincinnati Bengals. So this is a spot where you're gonna have to put up points in order to keep up with the Bengals, as long as they continue to play. And play.
You think there's a spot where they can just pin their ears back and go get them? Because they'll be up. Cincinnati will be up 21-3 or whatever, and you can just kind of.
I think I think from the DFS side of the world, that's absolutely a thing. I even in a couple leagues, I even actually went and picked up Cincinnati's defense just because I have Devin Neal in a lot of those leagues, and since he's going to be on IR, season's over with, just to do that, just to make sure that somebody didn't go pick them up and try to play them like in a spot like this. 'Cause I think this is
so playing defense on the waiver wire. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, and like even like just like I said, like in DFS, like we look at
Bengals or Saints though.
I'd probably take this. I probably would take the Saints. I probably would take the Saints, and the only reason why I would take the Saints is because the Jets are in a much worse situation than the Dolphins are. You know what I mean? But I do like the Bengals in this situation. And when you look at DFS, like you have the Texans up top playing the shit show that is the Raiders, and then you have the Bengals down bottom that is playing the Dolphins and a rookie quarterback. Now, the one thing I also am going to call out, you mentioned Devon Achane. Obviously, man, like going back and like looking at the season, like this guy has smashed all season long. Like I think now, without a shadow of a doubt, next year when you go into drafts, he absolutely, for me, I think he definitely is worthy of going in the top 3 to top 5 picks. He's only had 3 games this year where he has not finished at running back 12 or higher. So I think obviously now, like he's in that space, right? But the one thing to call out is with 6 games without Tua, 286 yards, 4.8 rushing yards, and 47 rushing yards per game, with 1 rushing touchdown, and then 11 catches with no touchdowns and 62 receiving yards. So while Tua might not be this all-world quarterback for the rest of the world, I think it is very imperative and very important for Devon Achane to have a competent and capable quarterback back there in the backfield. So I think today is really going to show a lot. And maybe, again, like this is all in the past, right? And I think like the one thing I will give him credit for is I think like, and everybody should, right? I think he's developed as a runner. I think he's always been really good as a pass catcher. I think, hell, he's just developed as a football player. So I think for me, like going into this game here, if Devon Achane is able to come out on the other side of things and put up a solid day or better, I think definitely it's and again, it's against the Bengals. So I think, pump your brakes. But like, I think it's definitely, if that happens today, I think he's definitely top 3, worthy of a top 3 pick next year for sure. I think this is a great spot for Burrow, for Chase, Stacks, even T. Higgins, Chase Brown. I think this is a really great game environment.
Onslaught.
It's like, and I got a lot of it. It's a great game environment, right? Like not to overthink it. You're in South Beach. The weather's nice. Like
literally.
Why, right? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we gotta go out for some drinks, baby.
Yeah, I mean, and like that's the other side of it is, maybe Joey B and them guys, maybe they got the South Beach flu today because they're 4-10. Who knows? But I love this game environment for the Bengals. So I am playing a lot of Jamar Chase. He's actually my highest owned wide receiver in the upper tier wide receivers on FanDuel today. So I'm not even thinking twice about that. He's coming in at 20% owned. I tried to get to him at like 33 to 35%. That's how much I think. Yeah, and then Darren Waller, I think he's definitely in play, as Rick mentioned, but like it is kind of scary because you don't know what you're getting from like the quarterback play. But Cincinnati has been historically bad against the tight end. So, but I'm going to play him anyway because tight end is a wasteland, right? So either you pay up or you pay down, and I'm cool with paying down for Darren Waller.
I think that when it comes to Darren Waller, obviously it's the matchup of all matchups, right? Like Cincinnati has been historically bad against the tight end position. So there's that. So I mean, look, the only thing I'll say also is that Cincinnati's been decent against their wide receiver ones this year. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess, for Waddle purposes. So that's where I just think that, Achane's going to have to get some of that receiving volume in the slot, and that's where the matchup goes for Achane and Waller. I think if they do put Waddle in more positions in the slot, like they can have more success. Because the Bengals are still a top 5 defense and still allowing 10 or less. They keep everything underneath. So 10 yards or less. So there's still a defense that allows a ton of usage underneath. So methodically trying to pick them apart, and then HM breaks one off like he always does. So let's do it, baby. Go on, HM. That being said, on to the 4:00 games. We got the Jags. We got the Broncos. Broncos, I believe if they win and New England loses, I think they lock up the 1 seed. Am I correct on that?
I don't know right off the top.
Denver's up a game on New England going into this one. So if it's 2-game, I mean the only way like that would not happen is no, I mean well, they still got to play the Chargers one more time still to keep up the division. But if the Chargers lose today, they're definitely, like I said, they definitely got the division for sure.
What was your question again? What would you ask?
My question was, does Denver lock up the 1 seed with New England if they lose tonight against Baltimore?
Denver clinches a first round bye and home field advantage with a win plus a Chargers loss plus a New England loss plus a Buffalo loss. So they got to have a little bit.
They got a lot of help tonight. They have a lot of help for things to go right today. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And regardless, they got to go out and win this one, right? So, Jaguars getting 3.5 going on the road to Denver. Jaguars in this one as well. Talk about stuff to play for. Like they're still in a fight for the AFC South division. And when it comes down to this, like I think that your boy Trevor Lawrence been on heater, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Been on the heater, right? Does this continue for him in this spot? Does he have an opportunity to even know, like, Denver's favored and stuff like that, whatever? Like, we all know Denver's defense is decent, but it's more about, like, do you think Trevor Lawrence could still, for some of us that need to start him for, their season, like,
do I think so? No, I don't think so. I think today, I think the ride stops today. Because that was one of the things like I was looking at, because obviously like one of my favorite stats is obviously adjusted completion percentage for quarterbacks to get a really good like idea of like how well they're playing. So excluding that, just going to look to see like fantasy quarterbacks and their trends as far as like them finishing as a top 5 quarterback. How often did anybody do that? How often did anybody repeat like multiple weeks as far as like back-to-back like top 5 fantasy quarterback finishes? And there was actually only there's actually 3 guys. It looks like, there's only 3 guys that did that. Just Patrick Mahomes from week 4 to week 8 was consistently a top 5 quarterback. Dak Prescott had a couple of weeks, back-to-back weeks in that space. My boy Caleb Williams had a couple of those spots. Justin Herbert had 3 of them. So there's not, and Jackson Dart had 2, Lamar Jackson early on. So there's not like, there's a couple of guys that have had like back-to-back weeks in that space. But like overall, man, like, like the data is saying that it's very difficult to consistently repeat in that space. Now, can he repeat as a top 12 fantasy option this week? Like, like that's absolutely something that has happened. It can happen. And for him, ever since week 11, he's been a QB1 in 12 team leagues. Hell, even since week 9, he's only had 1 week where he wasn't. And he's QB number 8 overall. I think this is like, man, we're getting really lucky right now. I'm really fortunate to be able to have meaningful playoff games. Like this isn't a division game, obviously, but like this is a meaningful football game. It's a playoff type game here in this space, like where we don't have to worry about like players sitting and things like that when you transition it over to like fantasy football and DFS and stuff. So I am excited. I'm excited about this game, man. I do like Bo Nix. I'm sorry. You just asked me a question. I was getting ready to go off on a tangent, but go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, continue.
I was just gonna say, like, I like Bo Nix like in this space here today. Like, I think like it's really ironic for me to kind of just take a step back and look at how the season is really shaking out for a lot of players that like people were kind of like iffy on and things like that right there, right? And Bo Nix is one of those guys that like through the first 6 weeks of the season, he only had 2 top 12 QB finishes. But even if you fast forward from that point on, he's still kind of been up and down, right? Finishing last week as QB2, a couple of QB 15 finishes. I think this is a spot where like if Jacksonville's defense is really as good as like advertised, right? And they have had some games that they've played some teams that aren't necessarily world beaters. So I'm not going to take that away from them. But like if you go back and you look over the last 5 weeks, I think there's a little bit of reservation, and you can only play who's in front of you, right? But there's a little bit of reservation when you play teams like the Jets, the Colts, obviously with the the banged up Daniel Jones, the Titans with the rookie quarterback, the Cardinals in their situation, the Chargers, which is really what kind of got this ball rolling, was them going out and absolutely throttling the Chargers. So I think like there are places and times, right, where you kind of have to temper your expectations, and we know what the Broncos are. And the Broncos have been a team that have handled business for sure against a couple of quality contenders when you look through things, not over the last 5 weeks, really just Green Bay and Kansas City. So I think, like, for me, if I take a step back and I say, all right, like, who do I have in this space? Like, it's definitely the Broncos for sure because, again, like, I venture to say, like, you could make an argument that they might be the best team in the AFC. And I think that goes without saying when you look at a 12-2 record for sure. One narrative that I do have on my agenda today, Evan Ingram revenge game today, especially when you look at pricing. I know it's comical, right? It's definitely comical. But
I might roll with you on
that. yeah. Like I
might add that to the prop sheet.
yeah. I was like, I mean, not like the same like coaching staff, like all that other stuff, but like I was going through.
Matters former team that gave up on him.
I was like, man, like what? How ironic would this be? In this space. And then obviously got RJ Harvey, man, who, again, we've been waiting for all these rookie running backs, and he's got the backfield to himself. So I think it goes without saying. That's a long-winded way of me for sure saying that, like, I've got the Broncos. And then when you look at like the ownership side of things, right? Cortland Sutton at almost 19%, Brenton Strange at 17%. Those are your two highest owned players. Projected highest owned players in that space. And then I think the most interesting thing for me, for the Jaguars, is getting the correct wide receiver right. Because whoever Patrick Surtain is on, we already know what time that is. So getting that right. So I'm playing I'm playing some Jacoby Myers. Unfortunately, it makes me vomit to say that I'm having to go back to the well and play a little bit of Brian Thomas Jr. as well today. But I am doing that. But I think Trevor Lawrence, independent of all that, the quarterback, he's somebody that I am not going to be playing a lot of, if any.
So today. Is he Brian Thomas Jr. or BTJ? Which one now? Huh?
He is Brian Thomas J right now, is what he is.
Brian Thomas J.
I can't. I mean, he helped me out. He helped me out.
Back in good gracious, huh? All
right. He helped me out last week in that 7th place finish on FanDuel. So that's why I'll give him one initial back, Brian Thomas J.
Hey, yo, man, I can't. I got Denver in this one. It's just because, like you were saying, I think the Trevor Lawrence thing has been good, but now I think this is where the rubber meets the road for Trevor Lawrence. And I just think Denver in this spot, like, you got Surtain, I'm saying, should be taken away. I do, like Rick said, was talking about Jacoby Myers was an interesting point because it's more about like, historical trend, but I think the role he plays, he'll be away from Surtain. So this could be a spot where he can definitely bounce, in this spot. He's been doing that for all of us that have been, on Myers. So it's a good point. I definitely think he goes on their own too. So shout out to Rick for that one. That was a good one. But yeah, on to the next one where we're like, all right, like Falcons, Cardinals, this could be this talk about a sneaky shootout game. This has all the makings of it. Schematically and matchup wise, like Drake London coming back into the fold today. Is he officially active or is he still questionable? I thought he was.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like in my late night escapades last night, I seen something that he
escapades. All right.
Oh my God, yeah, man. Coming in here strong off of about 4.5 hours of sleep right now. So,
yeah,
bro. Woo, yeah.
No, you did it all wrong. Woo.
Yeah. We'll see how 7:30 goes, man. We'll see how it hits.
We'll see how 7:30 goes.
It's gonna hit different. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure. I know he's active today. I don't know like what their plan is as far as like a pitch count or like what the scenario is on that. But like I know he's back up and running. Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other hand, like that was somebody that like I'd seen that they were gonna try to ease him in, and I'm like, of course. Why not? Because I have a roster that sports 2 Cardinals named Michael Wilson and Trey McBride trying to get into the chip, trying to beat, you know.
Yeah, same.
And it's like,
There for me too, yo. Literally,
oh
crazy,
man,
yo.
yeah.
I had to bench Michael Wilson because I was like, I just don't know how this is gonna play out. And I just, even if Michael Wilson goes off, like I can understand why he went off, but it's still like I started DJ Moore over him, so that looks decent right now for me.
Yeah. Well, my scenario is Michael Wilson or Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah, it's a good problem to have, but I also, but then like no, but then I also have, this is the crazy part, but then I also have Emeka Ibuka and George Pickens, so two guys that have really been letting me down the last 2 weeks. Right,
that's more of an easier one that
well, yeah, but still though, like two guys that have really grossly underperformed, and then like I talked about, like the Chargers, you know, in that defense, like right, like if like obviously you play George Pickens, you don't have much of a choice given the situation, but like you know, like but the Chargers are playing quarterbacks in the same breath as the Texans. But anyways, Cardinals and Falcons. But Cardinals and Falcons, yeah.
I gotta play. I'm playing both Wan'Dale and Pickens, so I mean, they're draft night out. So yeah, like,
yeah.
What could go right? What could go right? Is you gotta ask that question. What could go right? Damn it.
Yeah.
Not this. What could go wrong? Negative bullshit. Like, what can go right?
I heard that.
But schematically for both of these teams are pretty ideal. Both of these guys play cover 4, defensively, and Atlanta right now they're on six most points to quarterbacks. So obviously Brissett, like he performed even in a tough spot last week against Houston. So yeah, like so all systems go if you have Brissett. Like he is just not cooling down at all. It feels like. I know Atlanta's pass rush is pretty decent, but it's also about like I think Arizona can definitely get busy in this spot. Yeah, like if you got Marvin Harrison Jr. today, like if you have to start him, sure, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like you don't know if you have Michael Wilson, like it. I'd like to know what the options would be for y'all, but it's definitely like like it's definitely weird times out here. I know you could definitely start, for overall purposes of starting Bijan Robinson, So I hope that if you got Bijan Robinson, I hope he gives you a nice little early Christmas present. So I mean, I'm gonna take the Cardinals. I'm gonna take the points. Okay. I'm gonna take the points. I know Arizona's like I just feel like they have more of a fight to them. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins I don't know. I don't really trust him. I think he's like sort of cooked at this point. And I wanted to be sure that I think Walter Nolan's back for the Cardinals today. So that's good news. Because he's been someone that he's literally been their best pass rusher as a rookie. And I think in a spot like, yeah, bird games are tough. They are. Yeah, you saw talking about your hat over there, huh?
I gave the love, yeah, baby, yeah. I wore this in a Christmas parade.
Yeah. But that being said, wow, yeah, Rick's got the spots
all right, okay. All right, Rick. All right, mine changed.
You like immediately mine changed.
I got a good little nugget too. Yeah.
But I feel like the Arizona Cardinal defense will be a little bit better. They're gonna be playing at home, like I just think there's gonna be things that are better sorted for them to win this one. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins. That's my whole thing.
Yeah, like there's Kirk Cousins, obviously, man, coming off of like big game. Was it Thursday night against the Bucs? QB4 talked about like the repeating the efforts as far as elite performances for QBs, and only the real elite ones have been able to do that so far this year. And I would not categorize Kirk Cousins in that space. The other thing that's really interesting is since week 7, Jacoby Brissett he's been a QB1 every single week, like with no finish lower than like I think QB 11. So like we know it's going to be there, right? For him. The one thing that is a little bit concerning or could be a problem. Could be the Falcons and them blitzing. The Falcons have blitzed quarterbacks at the second highest rate. But even though for Brissett, like even though he's been pressured, even though he's been pressured the second most when blitz, he's been sacked 19% of the times that he has been pressured. So it's just a little bit above the league average. So it's not as bad as you think, but it's also not as good. Which also leads me to like the point. It's like, all right, well, like if Kirk Cousins, if we're not feeling him and we're not feeling like playing him, like what does that look like for the pass catchers? Like Kyle Pitts has been obviously was on a heater last week. He straight out puka'd everybody the week before. So like what does that look like now? With Drake London being back, right? But I do like this game like as a shootout for sure. I think there's definitely like a lot of ways that you can get into this game with Brissett being obviously like not an elite tier, elite price quarterback. Kirk Cousins, you can go there if you believe, but data says that like that's probably not the place to go. Bijan is obviously a really strong place to be at. Then if you want to mess with Michael Wilson or Marvin Harrison Jr., believe in that, or even get to Trey McBride, I think like you could figure out something there, and maybe even roll double tights with Pitts and McBride in this space. This game is going to be interesting for sure. But I definitely like a lot of this here. I got a lot of pieces in this game overall. Still haven't quite figured out what to do about like the Cardinals backfield. I don't know if it's Michael Carter, DeMarcado, don't know. It just feels kind of gross to play Michael Carter. But that's the reason why we do this, right? I'm feeling more confident in Michael Carter.
Okay. He's someone that I think that you have someone, if you're in a spot where you're looking for flex, options and stuff. I think this is gonna be a game environment where you can definitely start Michael Carter. He's had at least 4 targets in the last 5 games. He's just someone that is a nice little safety blanket valve outside McBride. So it's just, again, Marvin Harrison Jr. coming back into the fold as well, also opens up things for Michael Carter and the potential run game in this spot too. So I don't mind Michael Carter at all. I think this could be a neutral game script for both teams. So this could be a game where it could definitely go back and forth. So I do like Michael Carter from a perspective of usage perspective. Brissett has the 6th highest grade versus blitz compared to no blitz. There you go. So
I just worry about grades sometimes because I didn't test well. So I just need that data. But no, it's a good call out though, Rick, for sure. In that space.
Big Mac, you picked the Falcons.
I love it. So yeah. No, I'll take the Cardinals at home. In this space, man. I'll take him at home. I think like this is a really good spot to get back. But yeah, like what a nice fantasy game for sure. So I'm pretty excited about this one, man.
Makes sense.
Oh, let me hit the ownership real quick. Well, I can't because like everything's like freaking glitching up. That's why it's like my little mental process. Okay, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what. Like everything's like glitched up and frozen now. So.
No.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I guess we'll come back to it. But yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. Well, the question I had for you. I got 2. First, do the Raiders go back-to-back games of scoring 0 points? Second of all, is there any chance that they have a chance to cover the 14.5 at all?
Boy, what's wrong with you? Give me some chili Frito. It's my money, punk.
Chili Frito is actually a good thing. Nice little chili Frito in the bag. Ooh,
listen, bro. Listen, trust me. Man, listen. My highest owned quarterback today in DFS is CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
It's CJ Stroud today. It's CJ Stroud.
What can go right? What can go right?
Listen, I would say, I think like this is a 39.5. Over under.
Yep. It went up 2 points. Like, I don't know why the line was like 37.5, and then I got on here this morning 39.5. I'm like, what the heck? Okay.
Yeah. There is a chance that
the Texans
score all 39 of the points. Legit. It's a chance. There's a chance they score all 39 of the points. I don't know how the Raiders, because obviously, we all know how this goes.
Yep.
The Texans have turned into this sexy dark horse Super Bowl team. The only thing I would say that makes me not even kind of blinking eyed is they're playing at home. So that's the one thing that makes me kind of oh, all right, well maybe it's not that space, but Woody Marks will go full blown Aaron Jones and get hurt. So obviously we played a lot of him last week, and he had a great match.
I'm not sure if he's officially playing.
Yeah, Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb is going to be up. So their backfield is their backfield is a mess. It's a mess. So I'm just saying, you know what, man? CJ Stroud, one of the guys that I was over the moon with, in the preseason, Nico Collins. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Dalton Schultz, let's just do it. Let's do it. And I think one thing for reflection for myself from last week, right, is just hey man, if it's a good team going against a bad team, the best thing that can happen for all of us is the Raiders put up if the Raiders put up 14 points. If they put up 14 points, that's great. That's great. You know what I mean?
Not getting slogged out. Yeah. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So I personally am hoping that the Raiders find some way to score 14 points today. Don't care what it's off of, but I'm just hoping they find a way to score 14 meaningful points so CJ Stroud can have a nice day today with Nico Collins.
Raiders, the third highest pressure rate in the league, and they surrender the most sacks in the NFL. And now they're playing Houston.
And Will Anderson. Say what?
Danielle Hunter, Derek Stingley, all these words.
Bad place to be before Christmas.
Yep. Talk about cold coming to your door.
Man.
Okay. Last but not least.
Oh, boy.
Spell it out first, Johnny. I'm going to let you take the lead. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
All right. So I'm going to spell this out for you guys. The Steelers are in trouble today.
Steelers are a 7-point dog going to Detroit, 52.5 over under.
They are in trouble today. And I'll tell you why they're in trouble. Number one, because when they play against running backs who are explosive, like a Jahmyr Gibbs, that ain't good. That's just not good. They have obviously, I know the last couple of weeks, they've definitely played better. So I won't completely shit on them all the way. And they have played better. And I think we went over some of the stats on Monday night, just about what it's looked like for them over the last handful of weeks. However, the downside to all of this is there has been a trend with Jahmyr Gibbs dating back to week 7. So I'll go to week 6. Week 6, running back 32. The following week, running back 2. Week 8, they have a bye. Week 9, Jahmyr Gibbs, running back 37. Week 10, running back 3. Week 11, running back 10. Week 12, running back 1. Week 13, running back 25. Week 14, running back 1. Guess what running back Jahmyr Gibbs was last week? Not running back 1.
No, he definitely wasn't running back 1.
No, he was running back 29 last week.
Oh, I was close. I said 30 in my mind. So
yeah. So that does not bode well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's one thing that doesn't bode well for them. Yes, right. And as you mentioned, yes, there is no TJ Watt, which this is going to sound asinine, and I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to get it out of there real quick. TJ Watt later in the season, it hasn't been a thing.
Okay.
So hopefully everything goes well, man. And obviously, hopefully he gets back on the field in the next couple of weeks. Seen a couple of things that just said that the situation he's going through with his lung, it's typically not a 2-week period. Sometimes it's not even 3. 3 weeks is the best case scenario. So really the best thing I would think we can hope for at this point is if we do make the playoffs, then maybe he's there. The other thing we have going against us is not very well Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. That's a problem. That's a problem. Now the one thing I will say, right, is like obviously Asante Samuel Jr. like now being a part of the mix like for the Steelers, that's huge. That's huge. I think that is definitely a game changer for the Steelers for sure. But yeah, man, like this is just not a good space to be in, man. Like they have like the Rams just beat the Lions last week. This is a perennial, I wouldn't say perennial, but this is probably a team that that could get to the Super Bowl. The one thing that the Lions are still struggling with, right, is they still have some issues in the secondary. So I think like
Yep.
Yeah. So like maybe Aaron Rodgers can find a way to keep this game close-ish. But man, like this is like just not. And then like here's the other thing you got to worry about. You got to worry about Aiden Hutchinson, man. That guy is like a certified. He's a certified hellraiser, man. And like I mean, listen. While I love getting the win last week over the Miami Dolphins, yeah, that just doesn't do a lot for me to give me confidence that they'll be able to come in here and handle business against the Lions at home off of a loss after Amon-Ra just. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like I heard somebody say that like that was the best. Yeah, that was the best wide receiver. Oh well, before the Puka game, and I'm not even sure where that ranks. But that last week was the best wide receiver performance of the season, and you got the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. Just don't feel good about it, man. And then Kenny Gainwell. A lot of people are probably going to play Kenny Gainwell today, right? I think that's kind of like chasing, but I mean he has been decent for sure. And then I see here, what tight end on the Steelers do you like this week? Patty Freiermuth is where I'm going back to the well with him. I think like he's the guy. But DK Metcalf is a really good play today too, man. Like he's a good play for as much man as the Lions play today. What happened? What happened? What?
No, just what you're saying about Metcalf, dude. Like,
oh.
If it happens again, like you know what I'm saying, just don't talk to me the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like, if it happens with Metcalf again, just don't talk to me the rest of the day.
Yeah, and like the thing is, man, like for him so far this year, man, over 52% of his yards have come after the catch. So that's a career high for him. Obviously makes sense with like the way that offense is, right? Like not taking like a lot of like big shots. And if they do, they're far and few between. But yeah, man, hopefully the Steelers can find some way to keep it close today, man. But I am playing a ton of Jahmyr Gibbs today. And don't be shy about David Montgomery either, because I think like they have had some issues as far as stopping the run. I think that's been well documented, right? But from the injury side of things, yeah, looks like Nick Herbig may be doubtful, and if he's doubtful, then that's where the problem comes in for me. Then at that point, because now like no Herbig, no TJ Watt. That's a real problem for sure.
Yeah. Phenomenal points. What I'll say is that the Lions secondary has been their man coverage for them. It's just they've been getting burnt all season by the man coverage. So there's definitely some things there for the receiver. I see something wrong to Calvin Austin today, like something crazy where it's like just get like no. So. No. I wouldn't exactly count your Steelers out completely, of course. So there's still like some things to pick around, but it's just sometimes just a game script they get into at times where if they can't stay on schedule, it's like at times they've shown themselves to be, kind of, especially if Metcalf gets, locked down, it's like it just comes back to that question we talked about like several weeks ago. It's like who else can, break through. So I think the key for the Steelers in this one is, can you stop the pass rush early from Hutchinson staying on schedule? That's checkdowns to Gainwell. That's checkdowns to the tight ends. That's getting Metcalf loose for a big receiving catch downfield, just to open things up more so you can stay more methodical. So, I'll take the Detroit Lions, but the point spread for the Steelers feels like it's still a decent one to do. I'm not taking it personally, but something that I think could be floundered upon. I think Detroit, like they're just really good, honestly, after a loss. So it's kind of hard to go against that too. That's also working against your favor. Because like as I have it up, like Detroit, since Dan Campbell has been the coach, they're 23-9 against the spread after a loss with Campbell. They're 15-4 after a straight up loss since 2022. Yeah, like there's just a lot to like for Detroit in this spot, so I can understand why you're a bit nervous. So yeah, there's that. That being said, we go to Nick's prop shop. And we overall last week 11-9 record, so we came out a little bit more on top this past week. Got a shout out to a couple of those Monday night props that got us through to get us over 500 over 500 for the prop. And in the prop week, still 60% on the year. And now we dive into the core 4 bets for week 16. Core 4 bets and then everything else after. So first one I got Mike Evans, 60 plus receiving yards or more. It's just a simple chemistry play. It's a simple schematic play. Mike Evans historically has burnt JC Horn. He's also in these spots. Baker has just been consistently given the work. So I think 60 yards is pretty criminal. This line should be 80 at least. So I'm taking it in stride, 60 plus receiving yards or more for Mike Evans. Nico Collins, baby, 70 plus receiving yards or more. We've been on Nico Collins last several weeks. This is the lowest line I've seen. Like, what the heck's going on here? Nico Collins did this in 3 catches last week. He did this in 3 catches last week. So yeah, Nico Collins, 70 plus yards or receiving yards. I understand the game script might get away and stuff like that, whatever, but I'm willing to take that chance. Nico Collins is way too talented. Bo Nix, shout out to my guy, Rich Rebar for this one. 230 plus passing yards or more. Bo Nix in this Denver offense has been consistently putting up the attempts, putting up the volume through the air since J.K. Dobbins went down. They've been a team that's been top 5 in pass rate over expected since the J.K. Dobbins injury. And now Bo Nix gets a matchup with Jacksonville where they've been really susceptible to the boundary. And they've been a defense that, again, similar to Chicago, they've been a defense that still bleeds a ton of yardage allowed, but also is a decent defense for takeaways. So I think Bo Nix is going to have to prove that, in order for Denver to keep things rolling, they do like RJ Harvey in the run game, but they've just been a team that's been pass rate over expected over the last 4. So give me Bo Nix in a spot just because of that trend. And then for the last bet for the core 4s, Marion Hampton, baby. This line's way too low. 60 plus rush and receiving yards. Like we talked about, Dallas gives up the most to running backs. And I think in this spot, I expect the Chargers to just start getting Hampton going. Like they need to get their talented first round running back to where he was. So I think this is a spot for Marion Hampton, especially with no Quentin Williams now. This is a spot where I think the run game can eat and Hampton should be leading it. But I think the Russian receiving line is just way too low. So Hampton's proven that he can get some catches out the backfield as well. So that's why I'm going with the rush and receiving on there. And then, yes, madam. Anyhow, okay, whatever, float your boat. Chris Olave, 60 plus receiving yards, going right back to the well on this one. And I think that with Chris Olave, it's one of those scenarios where, like, come on. Fortunately, it's the New York Jets. But besides that, Devon Bailey out. He's on the IR now. So yeah, Olave since and then the game last week when he left, Olave saw 7 targets in the 4th quarter alone. That is a 42% first read share. Now, again, gets a defense that for the Jets, like they've been okay against the pass, you know what I'm saying? So, but the volume between him and most likely Juwan Johnson, like, is going to be there. So this is a line we took last week and it was easy. we nailed this one. Let's go right back to the well. Gardner Minshew, 210 passing yards or more. Gardner in this spot, like, just feels like this line's a little too low for the books have this line a bit too low for me. I still think Gardner Minshew is a veteran quarterback that can come out and still keep things moving and keep things going. So give me him for the 210 pass yards. If the Titans have anything, if they have any type of competitive bone in their body, Gardner Minshew will cross this line. I'll give that combination to Kareem Hunt as well. Like, that line for 40-plus rushing receiving just feels pretty criminal. I know Pacheco's there and stuff like that, but Kareem Hunt feel like he's been the best Chiefs running back all year. So I'm going to take this low line and let's cash it to the bank. Jalen Coker, over 38.5 receiving yards. Talked about it earlier. Bucks surrender a ton of yardage in the last 5, and Jalen Coker has been benefiting. I feel like Tetherow, we didn't talk about it earlier, but Tetherow has been just kind of, I don't know. He's been drawing the coverages and allowing other things for Carolina to get underneath more. So that's why I like Jalen Coker in this spot. I think that the matchups there, I think that Carolina's have to keep on throwing this spot. I think this line's way too low for Jalen Coker. It should at least be 50 receiving yards in that spot. Keelan Allen, 4 catches or more. Simple spot where if Dallas gives fight to the Chargers in a back and forth, Keelan Allen should be benefiting. I like Ladd, obviously, too. I like Gadsden, but I think Keelan Allen, for the incentive, he needs 3 catches or more, at least today, to be over 70 70 catches on the year. Can't talk now. And that would put him for $500,000 incentive for him for the year, among other things, if he keeps on balling out. Couple other ones I like because they're just too low. Dawson Knox, 2 catches. We've seen a rapport for Josh Allen with him, and we talked about it earlier. It's like, who else does he really throw to outside of Shakir and stuff like that? And then this is just based on if Buffalo just keeps things like on schedule. They need to get a pass out every once in a while. I think Dawson Knox has just had that chemistry with Josh Allen all season. I think this line is way too low. Adonai Mitchell, 40 receiving yards or more. Again, just too low for the rapport that he's demonstrated since he's been in New York. And I think in a game where they'll have to throw, Adonai Mitchell, all it takes is one big play. We've seen it before. No matter really who's at quarterback, it feels like he has a decent rapport with anyone playing at quarterback right now, which is like pretty crazy to consider how he was literally traded like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's like the wide receiver 1 that Indianapolis couldn't get out of him. So, like, hey, it is what it is. A little building block for the future. Again, a line that's too low. Drake London, 60-plus receiving yards or more. I think in a game where we talked about earlier that was going to be a back and forth matchup, I think Drake London is going to have his say in that. I think him getting back into the fold just says that Drake London's here to stay. I think he'll have a decent game in this one. CJ Stroud, over 220 pass yards. Look, Raiders are a trash defense. We know they're not going to generate enough pressure. It's just Max Crosby and the rest of that defense. So they're at home. I've always liked CJ Stroud more at home than he has in away. And that's just where I stand on him. So I believe he crossed that line pretty easily. Last but not least, this is more of an incentive thing as well. But Rico Dowell, 70-plus rush and receiving. I think he needs 125 all-purpose to, I think it's $1 million for incentive for him. I think it's a 500,000 or it's $1 million. I'll have to double check. But Rico Dowell is someone that I think this line's too low, and I think in a game where he could get this line rushing alone, but it's more about this line for rushing receiving just a little too low. So this time of the year, you're going to find some lower lines for some guys where we can just get some value in. That's where some of these plays are coming out to it today as well, because it's like some of it's incentive, other times it's definitely just the matchups there. But in the betting world, just as long as you clear the line, baby. So that's what I got for y'all. Of course, we'll have more for y'all later this evening between when we talk about the Sunday Night Football matchup between the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens. So there'll be more to come on that. But let's make some cash. Let's make some moolah in this joint. So, John A., any festive last-minute opinions for everybody out there?
Festive? No, because I'm just trying to get some cold water to get ready to get this second run of energy here.
Cold water?
No. Obviously, man, good luck to everybody, man. It's the semifinals. This is what it is, man. Like, this is the make or break for everybody right here. So wish everybody good luck, man. Go back through. Like, I hope this has been helpful for everybody today, just to kind of talk through these games and just like narrate, like, takes on the games and like where they're at and what's going on. Cause I think sometimes that can definitely get lost versus like just looking at, a projection or like what we've been comfortable with setting like all week long. But it's here, man. It's here. Here today, and then we'll see how everybody's doing at 7:30. So good luck to everybody. Unless you playing me and you know who you are, and you will not be mentioned here in this space. You probably haven't even been acknowledged, in the real world. But after this week is over with, I'll love you just like I always have. You know what I mean?
Oh boy. Well then. Oh man, still keeping it funky. Yeah,
like a pair of dirty draws, baby.
Whew, boy, that is funky. That is funky. Last minute thoughts myself. I guess I want to say good luck to all y'all out there. Unless, again, if I'm playing a semifinal, I'm not to slit your throat. Probably already happened to me a couple of these already because of Puka, damn Nakua. But I'll say this, like, all you just got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? You never know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You never know what injury or two is going to happen, and all of a sudden, like, things change. Like, you just never know. That's why we play football. So there's that. But what I'll say is that, as we're coming towards the end of the year, like, again, like, I can't say enough, like, how much, like, love and appreciation that we have out there in space, and that we overall bring to the table. And, just from Rick to, people in the Cookout League to, like, just so many, like, people that we can mention, like, Tip, who just came on randomly the other week, like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many people that were out there that, we just appreciate, you know what I'm saying? And, to everyone that's out there, y'all know who you are. And we just appreciate y'all as we're, thinking about what we're thankful for, being with our families and being grateful for life and all those things. So again, fantasy football is awesome, you know what I'm saying? But we just appreciate, everyone that always gives us love in the circle and that we show appreciation right back to them. So that being said, if you ain't on later this evening, we back on at 7:30 p.m. EST. So we got, more business to conduct. So hopefully me and Johnny will be in better spots because I'll probably be in better moods and not as grumpy. But that being said, make sure you get y'all holiday shopping on if you can today. Make sure you bring the phone and watch it on Red Zone if you can. I shouldn't say Red Zone, but it is Red Zone, ESPN, whatever. But that being said, that's what I got for y'all. So that being said, festive Johnny. Old say Nick, but I'm not old yet. We'll see y'all tonight, 7:30 p.m. EST. Peace.